Walking into Waverly Middle School and meeting my student for the first time was an exciting experience which highly exceeded my expectations. My student was extremely outgoing and remarkably comfortable around a stranger like me. I could tell that she had a fun personality instantly, where she felt okay being open with others. I was glad she didn't shy away during our first hour together, or many others to come. My focal student is an excellent reader. While she doesn't bring a lot of reading experience to the table when we read The Maze Runner together, she has many unique literacies which she shared with me from her life. She loves video games, which require several aspects of literacy for understanding a storyline. She is very involved in her basketball team and likes to look up statistics on players. She participates in many forms of social media, such as Skyping friends and posting pictures and communicating on Instagram and Snapchat. She told me she is very into rap music and thinks Eminem is a true poetic genius. Can't say I disagree. She loves to journal as well. I was especially excited to know she often journals because I like to also. The connections I made with my student were remarkable. I liked how easy it was to spend time with her. She also told me the most important people in her life are her mom, grandma, little brother, older sister, and her nephew from her sister. Her grandma and mom love to read novels, like 50 Shades of Grey, and I'm thinking maybe it's a good thing she doesn't like reading for that reason alone. Am I right? Joking aside, she made sure I knew full well that reading happened among the members of her household. As I mentioned, most of her literacies are influenced by social media. Her involvement in certain social media at home likely impacts her learning within a classroom. Her enjoyment in writing was clear in many of the activities we did together in Read 180. She is also able to use her home life to make text-to-self connections. She told me she does the most challenging reading in history class at Waverly. My student struggles within the modified cognitive model, geared toward vocabulary, background knowledge of text, and sentence structures, all of which lead to issues in language comprehension and the decoding and sight word knowledge aspects, which promote the need to tackle fluency in context. I could see evidence of this when she would go to read a certain, often slightly more challenging word and stumble to pronounce it. She might also replace one word with a completely different word due to similar letters or appearance. Many of these struggles are easily overcome by slowing down and sounding out carefully. I use the Tell a Friend About It, summarizing and reading aloud strategy, identifying main ideas within 2 chapters, a context clue strategy, a double entry diary, making predictions, and creating a word bank of new vocabulary. We also spent time drawing out a picture of the glade and the maze together. My favorite strategy we did together was Tell a Friend About It. I found it very effective for understanding the story and then formulating ideas in a conversational manner. She was also very successful and imaginative in making predictions. If I had a do-over, I wouldn't have begun with a double entry diary in our first hour, but rather a vocabulary or context clue strategy to give me an earlier idea of my students' main struggles. I think that my literacy learner was able to improve in her fluency skills through reading out loud. She also learned how to better summarize what she reads and ultimately see greater purpose for her reading. When she was able to identify points which she enjoyed, she got excited to see what was happening next. My hope for her is that she implements many comprehension strategies more naturally, and that she begins to overcome her reading hindrances, particularly in fluency. That way, she might highly enjoy reading more challenging texts in the future. I learned so much from my student. Spending time with her helped me to carefully reflect and identify areas that she struggled, and it gave me opportunities to brainstorm solutions for teaching to improve her learning. I learned more about the importance of getting to know students and their passions because many aspects of student life directly affect educational outcomes. The one-on-one relational task of reading The Maze Runner also taught me about the complexity of students. I can now more effectively understand how multiple aspects of a student's life contribute to the pronounced literacy and overall learning achieved by that student. I additionally learned that it's always a good idea to affirm students in their achievements. In continuing to work with my student, I would be even more intentional with the strategies I used, so that she would comprehend more and more. I would likely do a little more with fluency strategies, which is her frequent struggle as I've narrowed in on her reading. I think I got too excited to try lots of different strategies for the purpose of instilling interest, and I may have forfeited refining a comprehension strategy that would contribute to the surmounting of my student's main hindrance when reading. I know if I had more time with my student, I would spend more time with her on clarity of reading out loud and comprehending what was just read, possibly by rereading or other comprehension strategies, in hopes that she would learn them effectively. Moreover, I would continue to attempt to inspire her not only as a good reader, but also as an outstanding pupil, highly capable.